When I started going to the gym, I was actually the kind of person that was already strong. And when he got to the gym, he didn't make any progress. So when I got to the gym, I firstly started doing like bench press with 20 kilos on each side, something like that. This was this was actually really strong for someone that just started at the gym. At least that's what I think. I started at 13 years old and I didn't make any progress until now, really. Because when I was 16, I was doing about 25 kilos. So imagine this, 3 years in the gym and you do only 10 kilos more on the exercise, 5 kilos on each side, right? That's kind of shameful, actually. My chest is one of my weakest muscles. Okay, I have this to kind of cope a little bit with, right? But anyways, this genetical disadvantage wasn't really what was stopping me from making progress at the gym. Because right now, just 1 year later, okay, I'm 17 years old. So I was doing 25 kilos before, right? And now I'm doing 55 on each side. This means 130 kilos total, because 20 kilos of a bar. And that is like top 1% of strength in the whole world. Think about this. So I actually had a lot of body changes too. My editor will put here what I looked like 1 year ago and here what I look like right now. So the first step for you to actually make progress at the gym is just to progressive overload all the time. How do you do this? It's actually kind of easy. You just need to write down or I don't know, type down in an app how much weight have you done, how much reps have you done in a certain exercise in a certain day, and then in the next week you just try to do more repetitions or more weight. It's simple as that. But if you don't write down, if you don't like have a way to remember what actually have you done, it is impossible to have progressive overload correctly. So I actually don't bring my phone to the gym and I advise you to do the same. But I just bring this little notebook. The same notebook that I'm using to have the script for this video right now. You can see like a lot of notations here. Lots of them are about the gym, you know, and how much weight did I done in a certain day, in a certain exercise. And whenever I am at the gym, I just take a look at this notebook. And maybe you can be shy about this. Maybe you can think like, oh, but I'm with a notebook at a gym. It's kind of cringe. People will look at me and writing down things. It's actually not. People will look at that, and when they ask you about this, and you say, I don't bring my phone to the gym, they will actually compliment you. They would say like, oh, I could never do this. This is so hard. Oh, I need to start doing this too. My phone distracts me a lot in my training sessions, things like that, you know? And these things are actually the funniest part of my workout, you know? People just coming to talk to me, and I talk to people back. It's actually really social going to the gym for me. That's why I really like it. But when we're talking about progressive overload, we're talking about slowly progressing over time. It's actually very difficult to do progressive overload, but it's really simple. You know, there's things that are easy, but they're not simple, and there's things that are difficult, but simple. For example, recording this video, it's actually kind of difficult, although it's simple to do. So progressive overload, it is difficult to do. It has the same property as recording this video. It is difficult, but it's simple. Because think about it, recording this video is actually difficult because I need to think about a lot of hooks to keep you entertained at the video. I need to edit this video. I need to send it for my editor in this case. But it is really hard to edit the video, and it is really hard to have the idea to make the video, but it's not complicated. I just need to record and send to the editor and post. And when you look at this, when you look at the steps you need to do to get a video ready, it is very simple, but it's difficult. Although for this type of public, for the person that you are watching this, I think you're not a dopamine addict. This means this video has no retention skills, it has no flashy things going on the screen, it has nothing to catch up your attention all the time. It is just advice, valuable advice. That's why I want you to keep watching this type of video, actually, because it is beneficial towards you. It is actually beneficial, because just listening to my voice and doing pretty much anything else, it's almost a meditation. And we all know that meditation is really good for your mental health. After all, this is something that I preach all the time in these videos. But for you to do progressive overload, I'm going to show you a complete step-by-step, and you'll see that is very fucking simple. So first of all, you need to set a range of reps for you to do at the gym. For example, when you're doing a very heavy exercise, you do 4 to 8 reps. When you're doing a lighter exercise, more isolated, more for just one muscle, you're doing 8 to 12 or 10 to 12, something like that. What does this actually mean? What does 4 to 8 and 8 to 12 and 10 to 12 means? It means that you're doing this to this maximum or minimum of repetitions. So if you're doing an exercise and you're doing, for example, bench press, it is a heavy exercise. You're doing like 1, 2, 3, 4. When you do 4, that is a valid set of repetitions, because you're doing 4 to 8 repetitions, right? So 4 is the minimum. Let's say you fail at 4, so 4, you put the weight back. The next week you're trying to do this, you're going for 5 repetitions. And then the next week when you do 5, you're going for 6. When you do 6, the next week you're going for 7. When you do 7, the next week you're going for 8. When you finally do 8 repetitions, you get a small increase on the weight so that you can make 4 repetitions on failure again. So like 5 kilos on each side, and now you can just do 4 repetitions at the bench press again. And that is the beauty of progressive overload, because you just got stronger. You couldn't do this for 4 repetitions before. You just can do this now that you have progressively overloaded yourself until you finally reached your main objective, that is raising the weight. So that's why you need to pick up a notebook every time you go to the gym and notate for yourself what you're going to do. Actually, progressive overload makes you do progress in anything. Let's say you can only do about 5 minutes of meditation until you get very, very bored. If the next day you do 5 minutes and 10 seconds and do this repeatedly, you're doing 6 minutes in only 6 days. If you do this for more 6 days, you're doing 7 minutes per day. If you keep doing this in the time of a month, you're going to do 10 minutes a day instead of 5. You've just duplicated in a month how much time you do per day of meditation. And this is so beautiful because you can do this progressive overload in any time you want for every single thing that you want. Every single habit that you want to get better on, you can just progressive overload it until you get better on it. But I'm going to repeat this for you. You need notation. You need to have a notebook where you can notate how much reps you have, how much minutes of meditation you have done, so you can do better the next day. You can do this by your phone also, because there's a lot of gym diaries like Lift Off. I don't know, if you just search on Google Play or App Store for gym diary or workout diary, you'll find it. And also there's 10x for calisthenics, and that is so fucking good. I'm gonna link it in the description because it is a very, very good app that I use for myself to do calisthenics at home. And this is not a paid promotion whatsoever. I wish it was. But actually 10x is a really, really, really useful app that I use for myself because it makes me actually do the goals that I set up for myself in calisthenics, and it gives you a progression that you can do for it, and it is very, very good, and it automatically progressive overloads you. It suggests how much repetitions you should do, and it notates how much you've done last time, so you are pushed down to get better and better and better so you can learn the calisthenics skill that you're trying to learn. And this is so fucking important. Like progressive overload, it's something that is intuitive. You know you should do this at the gym, right? You probably already knew you should do this, but just now that I'm telling you that you should do this, you're actually thinking about it. And one more thing that you could add to progressive overload, it's the fact that it's actually fucking hard. Making hypertrophy in the gym, it's crazy fucking hard. When you're like at the bicep curl and you need to squeeze in a last rep, you need to be almost trembling, you know, when you do this. You need to be shaking and doing crazy strength for yourself, crazy inner strength, so you can push this last repetition in, and then you're making progress because you have done like 10 repetitions in the last training session, but you've done now 11, and then the next day, in the next week, you're doing 12, and then you can raise the weight finally. And that is so gratificating for you to do this. Like you'll have a lot of sense of gratitude for yourself in your mind. You'll actually be proud of your past self to do this for yourself, because you finally raised the weight, you're finally making fucking progress. So the next step for you to actually start making progress at the gym is the fact that training, it's not actually that important. And when I talk about this, I'm basing myself on science here. If you pick up a group of people that is going to the gym, doing a good diet, being on good sleep, everything right, everything set it up for their good maintenance and good like progress at the gym, right? They should be making progress. And if you pick up the other group on the other side that is just taking fucking steroids, the group that got the most muscle is the group that took steroids. So think about that. Every single time that you're doing something that is worst for your hormonal health, you're basically losing a training session. Every time that you eat a bag of chips or junk food, any junk food actually, you're not only making deep progress, regression for your diet, but you're also doing this for your training, because your hormonal health is more important for anabolism, for hypertrophy, than your actual fucking training. So think about this, when you're actually like at 200 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone, you will barely make progress at the gym. Doesn't matter how good you're doing the things. Doesn't matter how good your diet is. Doesn't matter how good your sleep is. Doesn't matter how good your weightlifting is. So you need to take fucking care of your hormonal health. And it's kind of easy to do this. The thing that I would say that I would advise you to do at maximum for the first time, like you're just starting to get better hormonal health, you need to start getting less cortisol. You need to get out of social media. You need to have less stress. Because when you have a lot of stress in your life, when you have a lot of cortisol running through your veins, you're going to have a lot of problems. And this means you're going to have problems with hormones, with the gym, with everything, because your body doesn't want to do anything when it's stressed. When your body is stressed, the only thing that it wants to do, that it biologically have a tendency to do, is to do something to alleviate the stress. You need to solve a problem. Your body is in a solving problem state when you're stressed. And it doesn't do anything when this is happening. Like, when your body is on high cortisol, you're not producing testosterone, you're not having any anabolism, your muscles are not regenerating. You can say countless problems that are ruining your progress at the gym, and they're all due to high cortisol. So a lot of things are able to affect your cortisol, but the main one might be sleep. So this is a topic that we will treat about on other videos, and we will treat about later on this video. So it is kind of an obvious thing, and we're not here to talk about obvious things. I'm going to give you new information that you've never heard about. So let's go. So let's talk about how important cortisol is. I'm talking like it has only disadvantages, but it actually does not. Your body wouldn't keep it if it had only disadvantages. Actually, think about this. If you know how evolution works, you know that bodies don't keep things that are unusable. They will be like eliminated generation by the generation. So every time something is unusable, it doesn't make sense for your body to use it anymore, your body gets rid of it. Not your body, but the next generation will be with less of it. Because people with more disadvantages, they tend not to procreate more. This is kind of brutal actually, because let's say you have a genetic disease that makes you unable to walk. This will make you fucking unattractive to girls. It is ridiculous, right? Because it's something that you are born with. But this will make it less likely that you're going to have a son, that you're going to have a daughter, because girls will be less attracted to you, because you're dependent on them, because you have a disabled seed, and this doesn't communicate any security, any safety. This is kind of sad actually. So having cortisol is actually useful because you need to have it for your day. You need to wake up and have a lot of cortisol going through you, because without it, you might just go to sleep again. So having cortisol, it's what makes you anxious. It's what makes you worry about something. Not worrying about anything is actually not a good trait, right? It's not something that you want to have, because if you don't worry about anything, you're probably just going to screw up your life. You don't worry about anything, right? So we're not trying to eliminate completely the cortisol. We're just trying to reduce it to very low levels. So let's start with blue light. When the sun sets, you shouldn't have any blue light whatsoever going into your eyes. Because think about this. When had you seen blue light in the fucking nature? When? When did you? When did you see even white light on the fucking nature? You can just see like orange or reddish lights going from fire, from lava, things like that. That's the only thing that you could actually see in the nature. And you haven't fucking changed for the last 50,000 years. The human body didn't really change as much. The human brain, very little. So the way your brain works is the same way. And the only time that you could see blue light was looking at the sky. The sky is blue, right? So if the sky is blue, it's the only way that you can see fucking blue lights. Get out of blue lights anytime that isn't at the morning or at the afternoon or at any time that the sun is out. If the sun just set, all your screens should be on gray fucking scale. Not blue light filter, because it still lets some blue light off. You should be on grayscale. And you shouldn't turn on many like lamp lights from your house unless they're like incandescent, they're not LED. Because if they're LED, you're getting a lot of white light. And white light, it is a mix of all types of light, including blue light. And by the way, you can't fucking see white light in the nature also. You can just see it from the sun. The sun brings out white light, and it's the only way that you can bring out white light. So there's a lot of ways that you can avoid white lighting and blue lighting. It is really easy actually. At least on Samsung phones you have the sleeping mode. So the sleeping mode, you just turn it on and your cell phone is gray. You can set it up for gray if it isn't. If it just becomes yellowish, you can set it up for gray. And having this turned on will actually make your cortisol a lot better in a lot of ways. It's not only the lighting that will change it, actually your sleep will get much better. For a lot of reasons, by the way. Because when you turn this on your cell phone, your whole cell phone, your whole smartphone, it becomes like totally fucking boring. Like when you watch a video on grayscale, it is fucking boring. When you play a game on grayscale, it is fucking boring. The colors are so important for this shit. So having your cell phone on grayscale will actually help you make progress in the gym, help you have less screen time, help you to get better sleep. It'll help you in fucking everything in life, actually. So why don't you turn this on? Come on, it is hard to do this, but turn this on. If you're watching this on cell phone, just turn this on right now. It is hard to do this, yes it is, but it will make so much for your life. It will make your life so much easier. It will make achieving your goals a lot easier because your cell phone is actually distracting. It is distracting and it is also distractful. It will distract you from a lot of things. So that's an actual way that you can have to reduce a lot of cortisol. But going on to the next way that you can have to reduce a lot of cortisol, it is the easy pathway. You want to know what the easy pathway is? It's basically you spend a little of money and your cortisol will instantly drop after you do this. Just buy ashwagandha. It's that simple. Ashwagandha, it's like super fucking effective. And when I say super effective, it's super effective. Ashwagandha has shown to be a huge reducer of cortisol in a lot of studies. When you take ashwagandha, your cortisol will for sure get reduced. I'm gonna link up in the description where you can buy ashwagandha. You can find like cheaper places. I don't know, but I'll link a very good ashwagandha that I'm currently using. So you can just check up the description and see if you have the money to spend on it because it's really valuable. Besides just taking ashwagandha and putting your cell phone on grayscale, you can also just take life less seriously. It is actually effective to just not take life seriously. Because whenever you have a peak of cortisol in your day, it's probably because something is worrying you. If you just like start thinking about what your ex is thinking about you, you'll probably get a lot of cortisol. If you probably like think about one time that you messed up a talk with a girl that you really liked and think, what does she think about me? You're probably getting a peak of cortisol also. You notice it by like a feeling of weight in your chest. It pushes down your chest, you know. It makes you feel actually bad. That is a peak of cortisol. That is anxiety. So just taking life less seriously, acting more of like a real child. Don't do this in front of girls because girls like maturity, right? They like mature guys. Unless you're already dating a girl, then you can just be playful with her. You can have this boy energy, you know, not this man energy, this boyish energy where you can play with her every time. And then you switch up to the man energy whenever you're trying to do your good habits, things like that. And you seem like you're mature, but not that much, you know, not enough to make you serious all the time. You shouldn't be looking serious all the time. Just smile a bit more in your day. Like actually remind yourself to be smiling. Whenever you're at the gym and you finish a session and you did pretty good on that session, just keep on smiling because you have something to be grateful for. You have something to smile for. And then you take life much less seriously.